growing up, I never really read for entertainment. If it wasn't for school, I wasn't really going to read. Even in my 20s after college, I read a few books, but they were all, motivational books or self-help books or anything around those lines where I felt like I was getting some value out of it. I was going to learn something from the books that I was reading. Again, never really read for entertainment. Whenever I wanted something for entertainment, I figured TV shows and movies was the way to go. Had nothing against books, I just didn't read them. Then a few years ago, I had a friend who wouldn't stop talking about this book that he read. And he told me, hey, I know, whenever you read, it's because you're trying to better yourself or you're trying to find some sort of motivation. But this is a book that I really think you would enjoy. At the time, I was in my late 20s, married with 3 kids. I was working for a job that I didn't really care for, just paid the bills. So I figured, why not? This is a guy that I trust. I'll pick up the book. Started reading it. It was pretty slow at first. And then about 80 pages in, something happened and it was like a light switch. It flicked. Couldn't put the book down. I was finding every excuse I could to read this book and it completely blew me away. After I read that book, I kept reading, kept reading, kept reading. And as I was reading, I started to go down the booktube rabbit hole. So I started looking at all these awesome booktubers here that were doing really cool things. And there was one thing that I found consistently when I was looking at these booktubers. They were all people that had been reading their whole lives. They would talk about this series that they read when they were a teenager, or the series that they read 15 years ago and they've now read it 2, 3, 4 times. And I always thought to myself, it would be awesome if I knew what was the first fantasy book that they read, and then the second one, and the third one, and why did they read them in the order that they read them, and who did they hear those books from, and in the chronological order, what was their favorites and why. And it got me thinking. At this point, I had read about 13 fantasy books. And I was like, man, I can't find it anywhere on YouTube where I can find somebody that started from the beginning of their reading journey to the current. So if I can't find it, I might as well be the one to start it. So that's what I'm doing here. Here's my Goodreads. To this point, I've read 13 books. And what I want to do is, starting from the first book, I want to review it, explain my Goodreads commentary on it, what rating I gave it out of 5 stars, what I recommend it to a friend, all that good stuff. And then when I'm done reviewing it, I want to put it on that bookshelf and start with the second book and go all the way up into where I'm current. And from there on out, I just start reviewing books as I read them. And because I've only been reading for a few years, I want to ask you guys for help. Look in the comment section and see what type of books have I not heard of? What type of authors are out there that they think I would enjoy based off of the books that I've already read that I maybe wouldn't have found for myself? So I by no means think I'm a book expert. I am far from it. Like I said, I've only been doing these type of books for a few years. I've only been reading for the last few years. But I do think it would be really awesome to not only explain my journey and kind of look at it as like a reading diary, but then also build a fan base where I can then ask you guys for opinions on what type of books I should read next. Now, this is the book that started it all. As I mentioned earlier, this is the one that my friend recommended to me. And so for my next video, I'm going to do a deep dive on it. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, give you my Goodreads rating, and then let you know if I would recommend it to a friend. After that, I'm going to put it on the bookshelf, and we're going to do this for every single book that I read. So if this series sounds interesting to you, hit the follow button, and I'll see you at the next video.